Bitches.
Hello, and welcome back to another Hawaiian Folklore episode.
Yeah, this one I'm a little more excited about, mainly because I already knew a little bit of these beings, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm going to be talking about Maui today.
What
And
can I say except you're welcome?
yeah, exactly, that Maui. Um, and I kind of strayed a little bit. I did the Hawaiian, but I also talk a little bit about some of the other Polynesian Maui myths, just because there are so many Mauis. So, I'm going to kind of run through a couple of them. So, in Maori mythology, Maui was prematurely born to Turanga and Makia Totura. I fucked that up. Makea Tutara. Turanga was his mother, and she believed he wouldn't survive because he was prematurely born. So she wrapped him up in like a tress of her hair and threw him into the sea. This is kind of most closely aligns with um, Moana, the origin story in Moana, the Disney movie. Because ocean spirits find him, they nurture him until he is later discovered by his grandfather, and then he grows up to be the trickster god or demigod. In Hawaiian mythology, Maui is the son of Akalana and Hina Hina Akeahi, which is a goddess linked to fire. He has 4 brothers. They all start with Maui. So it's Maui Mua, Maui Waena, Maui Kiiki, and Maui Akalana. And they typically go on journeys and adventures together. He has a wife in Hawaiian mythology named Hina Kealohaila. And his son is Nanamaua. And they also typically are in his tales in Hawaiian mythology, and he's more of a family man in Hawaiian mythology and not just a hero. And then in Tahitian mythology, Maui's lineage connects him to powerful gods like Tawiri, the god of weather, Tangaroa, the god of the sea, and makes him more of a god than some of the others. And in Samoan traditions, his relationship with his father plays a big role. And in one of the stories, Maui follows his father to learn the secrets of fire, which is a legend that's supposed to like really drive home the importance of knowledge being passed down through the generations, and like sharing the generational wealth kind of vibe. Physical traits, Maui in all of the various mythologies is depicted as youthful. He's handsome. He's very charming. He's got an athletic build. He's strong, athletic, and all of these things help him do all the things that he's going to do. But even though he differs a little bit than the way he looks across the Polynesian cultures, he's consistently seen as someone who's very strong, both physically and magically, because he does have the ability to shapeshift into creatures. And this is kind of where his notoriety as a trickster comes in, because he can change the way he looks into worms, into birds, into whatever, to help meet his ends. He almost always has long hair. And that is because in the Polynesian cultures, long hair, and this is also like a Native American thing too, long hair was seen as a symbol of strength. Because there are cultures where like they have long braids and then if they or something happens or if their braid gets cut off, that's like a very demeaning thing. He's often described as a deep tan, which embodies his connection to the sun and the ocean. And he's always depicted in like drawings and paintings with like a mischievous grin, because he's supposed to be like intelligent and a trickster. There are multiple stories that I wrote about Maui, and the various things that he's done for the people. So Maui heard the birds sing and noted their beautiful appearance as they flitted from tree to tree. But Maui was the only one who could see them. Humans could not see birds or hear their songs. Or no, they couldn't see them. They could hear their songs, but they didn't know where the music was coming from. Maui was sad about this because if you think about the birds in Polynesia, like there are a lot of really beautiful birds there.
Like birds of paradise, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah. And so Maui pitied them and made the birds visible to human eyes. So now humans can see and hear the birds. Oh, goodness, excuse me. Maui was also credited with creating the Hawaiian Islands. In some of the stories, he goes on an expedition, a fishing expedition with his friends. Some of the stories, it's his brothers. But he uses a magic fish hook and pulls up various island groups from the ocean. Some versions of the story say that Maui was really bad at fishing and his brothers would like make fun of him and then he would play tricks on them. Like, typical brother shit. Like they would razz him for not being able to catch fish or not being a good fisherman. And then he would throw him in the water or stuff like that. But they one time decide to go fishing and they're like, nah, bro, you can't come with us today. And he's annoyed. So he's like, when they get back, he's like, they've caught just one shark. And he's like, if you would have brought me with you, you would have caught a lot more fish, yada, yada, yada. And to make him, that they should take him with them next time. And so they do. And he brings his magical fish hook and he puts alea birds on it, which are sacred to his mother, and throws it into the water to get the good fish. When he does this, the ocean floor starts to move and creates big waves. And Maui's like, you gotta paddle fast. This is the fish. This is the fish. And Maui's like, you gotta keep paddling. Don't look back, because if you look back, the fish will go away. And they're like, what the fuck? Okay. But then one of the brothers is getting tired and he's like, what the hell? And he turns around and looks back and the fishing line snaps. And when the fishing line snaps, there are a bunch of islands. Had the brother not looked back, it would have been one big island. But because he looked back, it ends up being just a bunch of little islands. So that's how the Hawaiian Islands were created by Maui. The Secret of Fire. Maui lives in Hawaii where there are volcanic eruptions and fire in the mountains. But men have not figured out how to make fire yet. And so Maui's like, we have to hike dozens of miles to get this fire. Like the humans have to do this, and that's a lot. So let me come up with an easier thing for you. So Maui talks to this tribe of intelligent birds that have mastered the art of fire making. And he's like, I'm going to capture this fucking bird leader and make him tell me how to make the fire. And he did. And the bird taught him that he should rub certain sticks together in order to produce fire. And that's how humans learned to make fire, by rubbing sticks together. Which, it's kind of wild that used to be the way that fire was made. Like, it's insanely cool that it works, but like also look how far we've come.
Honestly, though.
Okay, I have 2 more stories about Maui, and then I have a little bit about Haumea. So Maui was also the tamer of the sun and the heavens. The sun, which was called Lau, would just travel all over the sky, coming and going whenever it wanted, like no pattern or rhyme or reason to it, which made things difficult for humans, right? So Maui makes a snare out of his hair to trap the sun. And this works, and he traps the sun to make it travel more slowly and in a pattern. And that way mankind could, plant and do all of their things based on the sun instead of it just being randomly flying around the sky. Excuse me again. And then the last thing is he's the pillar of the sky. So similar to the story of Atlas and Heracles in Greek mythology, Maui lifted up the heavens, which for a long time just laid on top of the plants of the earth, and made it hard for humanity and plants to grow and move about with ease. So Maui holds up the sky like Atlas. So those are some stories about Maui. I'm sure that there are tons more that I did not find, but those are Maui. The other person I was going to talk about today is Haumea, and she is the Hawaiian goddess of fertility and childbirth. She's also the mother of many other Hawaiian deities. Haumea would be good for, she's good for people who are trying to get pregnant or who are pregnant. She'd be a good deity to maybe work with. So original Hawaiian myth tells us that women could not give birth. They would get pregnant and they would get really big. And when it was time to deliver the baby, they would have to be cut open, and have the baby taken out that way. Haumea comes to the rescue and teaches them how to push the child out between their legs instead of being cut open. So she teaches them how to do childbirth. Haumea is not ageless like some deities. She grows old and then transforms herself back into a young woman. This is where we get a little bit into that Greek mythology-ness where we have some incestual things happening. Every generation she would get old, and then when everybody else starts dying, she would just transform herself back to young. She would continue living among the humans and sleeping with the handsome young men, even when they were her descendants. So that was happening. Because she was so skilled in childbirth, she didn't have her children in the traditional method. Her children would instead just spring out of random parts of her body. One Hawaiian legend, and I don't know if you're going to talk about this or not, but claims that Pele was born out of her mother's armpit, and her mother was being Haumea. And then another states that she came from a flame out of Haumea's mouth. So, she also can just keep having children because she has the magic stick named Makale. And this is what allows her to grow old and then age herself back. And it says every so often she travels back to her birthplace and marries one of her descendants, ensuring the continuation of humankind. And with this, sometimes when she ages back, she doesn't, like, she forgot that she was a goddess. She forgot that she was not just a human. Um, and at one point, she learns who she is, and she gets pissed off, and she abandons them. She abandons humanity and just goes up to the realm of
What
the
a
gods.
dick.
Yeah, and so that is Haumea. But from a witchcraft point of view, Maui is going to be like your Loki. He's going to be kind of chaotic and trickstery and that kind of energy. Haumea is going to be good for fertility, childbirth, family type things. So that's what I've got.
Nice. Well, Jesus. I'm not I'm not over the she just
Just make yourself young again and sleep with her grandchildren. No big deal.
yeah, like that right there is like, excuse me?
Yeah.
Why?
But why though? Why?
Why? Okay.
I kind of got the feeling reading it that it was one of those like she's like Eve kind of vibes. So like she was the original mom, so everyone is her children.
Yeah.
But still, that story is also kind of cringe. So
like, homie, go do something else. Like,
yeah,
not whatever the fuck you're doing right now.
Yeah, we can just skip that. It's fine.
Please. Cool. Well, I have, the Pele sisters and some of their, Hawaiian myths that they have passed down, through history. So, let me get my stuff up here. Okay. So, the legendary Pele sisters and their stories have again shaped Hawaiian culture for centuries, which, I feel like they wouldn't be noteworthy if they didn't shape it somehow or whatever. So there is quite a weird relationship between the Pele sisters. They've had epic battles and, the stories are themes of construction, creation and destruction. So at the heart of most of these Hawaiian folklore based stories is Pele. So she is a formidable goddess of volcanoes, fire. Her legends are not just tales of old. They actually are continuously praised today and taught to the younger generation. And she isn't just a lone figure. She is actually part of a family. So her sisters is going to be not great. So she's got 3 of them. She's got Kapo. She is the goddess of fertility and sorcery, which, is that who you just said, Kapo?
No, Haumea.
Haumea. Okay. Apparently they have a lot of fertility goddesses. She possesses the power of shapeshifting and is known for her mystical abilities. She is also linked to the practice of healing and is respected for her knowledge of medicinal plants. She has her other sister, which is often termed as Pele's favorite sister, depicted as her beloved sibling. Hiaka is associated with the forest, hula dancing, and healing. Unlike Pele, Hiaka has a gentle and nurturing nature, symbolizing harmony and balance. She is known for her bravery and loyalty, and she has actually did quite a huge journey to the underworld to rescue Pele's lover, Lohiao. So I'll actually talk about that here a little bit. Excuse me. So I wouldn't say her arch nemesis, but her least loved sister, Pele's least loved sister, I guess I should say, from Pele's point of view, is Namakau Kahai. Namakau Kai. She is the goddess of the sea and the elder sister of Pele. She is known for her fierce temper and powerful oceanic abilities. So she represents the element of water and is often seen as Pele's rival, especially when their elements have clashed. Namakauhai's jealousy and anger towards Pele for her indiscretions often lead to major conflicts that have quite a lasting impact on the islands. So each sister does play a significant role in the stories and legends, but we're only going to have a couple of them. I couldn't really find a lot on Capo. So we're going to talk a little bit more about her favorite sister and her elder sister. So one of the most common myths is the story of Pele's journey from Tahiti to Hawaii. According to the legend, Pele left her homeland after a fierce conflict with Namakau Kahai. Her indiscretions with I'm gonna call her Nama because the rest of it is very difficult for me to I don't want to butcher it basically. So Pele's indiscretions with Nama's husband led to her banishment by her father. Pele was determined to find a new home, so she traveled across the Pacific Ocean in a canoe, guided by her ancestral spirit and her mystical powers, which, kind of makes me think of Moana in a way.
Yeah.
Not that she was like banished or anything, but she was definitely trying to go find something. And so she traveled across the Pacific Ocean, guided by her grandma in the form of a stingray. And she's got ocean powers. So, during her journey, Pele stopped at several islands, attempting to create a permanent home by igniting fires. However, each time she settled, Nama's relentless pursuit forced her to flee. The rivalry between Pele and Nama reached its peak when Pele had actually arrived on the island of Hawaii. In Hawaii, the sisters had engaged in this big battle between fire and water. Nama used her oceanic powers to douse Pele's fire multiple times, but Pele's fire and her determination and strength allowed her to continue creating volcanic eruptions. In the end, Pele's spirit finally found its home in the volcano Peleauia, which is actually when they say Hawaii, I don't think they're stating the like the state itself. I think they're
like
actually
the big
talking
island.
they're talking about the big island. And I think that's the name of the volcano on that island.
Okay.
But they say that Pele's spirit actually lives in the volcano, and she continues to reside there, which helps influences the island's volcanic activity. It is also said that the stream from the volcano is Pele's breath, and the lava flows are her tears. So, she is an active living presence in Hawaii. Pele actually had a lover, Lohiau, and he had a heroic rescue by her sister, Hi'iaka. So Pele fell deeply in love with Lohiau, a handsome chief of Kauai. After meeting him in a dream, Pele sent Hi'iaka on a perilous journey to bring Lohiau to her. Her journey was filled with a lot of challenges and obstacles. She had to face fierce demons, treacherous landscapes, and supernatural beings. Despite all of these trials that she had faced during her journey, she had remained steadfast in her mission, driven by her loyalty to her sister and her own sense of duty. Along the way, she received guidance and assistance from various gods and spirits who admired her bravery and wanted to see it through. When Hi'iaka finally reached Kauai, she found Lohiau dead. Using her healing powers, Hi'iaka resurrected Lohiau and prepared to bring him back to Pele. However, upon returning, Hi'iaka discovered that Pele, consumed by jealousy and anger, had set fire to her beloved grove of ohia trees, which was a sacred place that Hi'iaka cherished. This act of betrayal deeply hurt Hi'iaka, causing tension between the sisters, which is kind of fucked up. Like, fuck you,
Yeah.
Pele. But
Right. Like, that wasn't necessary.
yeah. So, but despite the emotional, turmoil and everything that had happened, Hi'iaka fulfilled her mission and brought Lohiau to Pele. The story of Hi'iaka's journey highlights those loyalty, sacrifice, and complexities of familial relationships. It should also probably do something along the lines of, fucking relax, girl.
Yeah, right.
So Pele's stories, have a lot of those themes of creation and destruction. It's kind of like this nice little, you can't have one without the other sort of idea. She's got volcanic eruptions symbolizing the devastating force of nature, and the creation of that new land. She has duality, reflecting in the Hawaiian belief in the interconnectedness of life and death and the ever-changing landscapes of the island, which is so true. Her legends also speak about the importance of, respecting nature's power and consequences of human actions. Her presence serves as a reminder of the delicate balance between the elements, and to always respect those. Hi'iaka's journey to rescue Lohiau adds another layer of symbolism, emphasizing themes of that loyalty, courage, and resilience of the human spirit. There is a lot of intricate and tumultuous bonds between the siblings throughout her life story, with, I guess, 2 of the 3. But even in modern times, Pele's influence is seen a lot through Hawaiian culture. She's celebrated in local legends, festivals, and even in the tourism industry. So visitors often hear stories of Pele and are encouraged to respect her spirit by not taking rocks or sand from the island.
That makes a lot of sense because she's one of the few that I had ever heard of. Like,
yeah,
as a white person that lives
right,
on mainland America. Like,
yeah, who you don't really hear a lot about Hawaii, like from an American standpoint, unless you know people from Hawaii or you're talking about Pearl Harbor. That's really about it. Hi'iaka's legend, or legacy, not legend, also endures, particularly in the art of hula, because she was graceful and powerful, and she used those dance movements to create stories, in the legends we know today. So those dance moves in any way, shape, or form are honored as well. So yeah, that's Pele and her history and story. I couldn't really find, to be honest, I didn't want to look at the book that you have.
That's fair. It's hard to read.
Yeah. And trying to do all of this with a migraine was not, I was trying to make things as easy as I could. So I thought her legend story based stuff were more, and like the fact that her 3 sisters are very intricately like entwined with her stories were more important.
No, I think that was great.
So yeah, that's Pele.
Yay. So that was Pele and Maui and Haumea.
And all the other sisters that Pele has.
Yeah.
So until next time.
Bye.